everybody, and welcome back to the United Stand Fans Forum. Manchester United beat Luton 2-1 at Kenilworth Road, but I mean, honestly, can we have one game where like my fingernails aren't gone at the end of it? Honestly, it's so hard to watch, but we got the win and we are back in the top four race, says Eric Ten Hag. Faz, Kev and Mordz join me on the forum. It's never easy, is it? It's heartburn. It's walking around the room not being able to look at the TV. It's always nervous, isn't it? It's bad for your health. I mean, honestly, I feel like Man United fans are going to age so much quicker than the average person. But I mean,
look at me, for God's sake! Since Sir Alex Ferguson left, honestly, I'm a shadow of the former person I used to be. Oh God!
It's no wonder like the managers age about 10,000 years whenever they go. Have you seen the before and afters of like Moyes, like Van Gaal, Mourinho, and all that stuff? Eric Ten Hag is going to hit you next, but no, seriously. All that aside, we can talk about the performance in detail. We have to remember that Kenilworth Road is not an easy place to go. Okay, yes, Sheffield United had that result against them, but teams have struggled there this season. But Man United, despite some of the poor football that was on display today, are unbeaten in 2024 and are unbeaten in 6 games. I mean, it's quite a good record. It's our biggest unbeaten run for over a year now. It was January 2023 we went this far, and that's a positive that you can take, isn't it, Faz?
Yes, it is. I said it in the build-up, so I'm going to keep the same tone. I don't care anymore about we didn't deserve to win. We won because we deserved to win, and they didn't win because they didn't deserve to win. Finish your chances and you could have beat us. They didn't, and we had 2 goals. They made a mistake at the start. Whether they deserved it or not, who gives a heck? It's a game of football. Shouldn't have made the mistake then, right? That's how I look at it. I said to someone just after the game ended who's really upset, when you're winning, I can't sit there and criticise the performance, knowing how the team are performing, knowing the process and whatever changes we're going on. Listen, life is about just living and being positive. Glass half full, glass half empty. That's how I look at it. So 3 points, closer to Champions League football. I'm about to pay my season ticket for next year. I want European lights. I'm happy. I'll take it. Yeah.
Apparently, Goldbridge is raging at our thumbnail. By the way, I'm going to pull a fast. I'm not responsible for the thumbnail. Apparently, he says it's not a lucky escape, and our thumbnail is lucky escape. Well, Kev, do you think it was a lucky escape from Man United out of Kenilworth Road? I mean, Ross Barkley did hit the bar in the final minute with a header.
Yeah, well, like you touched on, it's nervous watching it, isn't it? So you're kind of watching it, and towards the end, we just don't seem to have that mentality where we can close a game out. You know, in the first 6 minutes, we go 2-0 up, we get an early goal in the first minute, and you think, here we go, lift off, finally. You know, we're going to get a day where we can enjoy, you know, the game might be won at half-time, it could be double figures, you know, I'm getting giddy looking at it, and the minute they get that goal back, you can look at it. I think Onana has to do better. I really do.
People are going to hate me for this. Bring on the comments. Bring them out.
I wasn't invited.
Give me your best shot. I think people blaming Onana for that is a bit of scapegoating. Like, it's right on him. He comes out and tries his best to smother it. Carlton Morris from that angle, he's got the advantage. I think people are proper scapegoating that situation. Yeah. Mordz agrees with me, so does Faz.
No, I think if we're going to blame anyone, there was maybe 2 or 3 defenders that could have stopped the crossing before the ball even got to the box. So if anyone's going to be blamed, it should be them first. Yeah. And then, I mean, you're giving Onana a shot 6 yards outside of the goal. What do you expect him to do?
I mean, that's not something. People are blaming for Onana for that. What is he meant to do there, really? He's got his body as big as he can get it.
Yeah, just make himself look big.
Just got to save the ball.
Just do your job.
Right on his goal line. But anyway, guys, I mean, Mordz, did you think it was a lucky escape? Let's get a poll down below, because Goldbridge isn't happy. Was it a lucky escape or not? Again, not responsible for the thumbnail.
I think there's elements, like you said, that last chance with Ross Barkley hitting the bar, that's definitely lucky, because that probably could have went in on another day. But in general, the game was, I'd say, out for a long period of time, it was in Luton's favour. I think they had more possession maybe, they definitely had a lot more passes, they kept the ball way better than United did in general across the whole game. So in that sense, it's not really lucky, because they probably should have won. In their eyes, they're thinking that's a game we could have won 100%. They'd be very disappointed. So I understand why you're probably thinking that's not lucky, because Luton probably played better than us for the majority. But for us to go 2-0 up after 7 minutes and then completely just pretty much throw away the rest of the, not throw away, but have no kind of momentum to finish off the game, and big chances that we just absolutely wasted. I'm sure we're going to go through them, but in that sense, we are very, very lucky that we got that win, because we could have absolutely closed off the game 2, 3, 4 times, and we didn't. So
you have to give a hell of a lot of credit to Luton. It's the first time I've kind of properly watched them and playing out from the back. Ross Barkley in midfield looked rejuvenated. You kind of look at it, and they were really good. Yeah. And like you say, probably from a Luton perspective, they'll think that United have had a lucky escape today.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be honest, I do think United deserve to win the game, just purely because of the amount of chances we missed. But in terms of the way Luton played, they easily could have won the game as well. It's one of them where, genuinely, United could have ended up winning it 3 or 4-1, or Luton could have drawn that game 2-2. Like, it was one of them where if they scored, like, it's out of my
it wasn't convincing, was it?
It could have gone either way. Both teams had the chances. But in terms of possession, I mean, against Aston Villa, Man United had 44% possession, and against Luton, Man United had 41% possession. Against West Ham, they had 51% possession. So in regards to kind of trying to dominate the game, Man United are not doing that, and you'll say they are away games, which obviously you're going to have the less of the ball in the away games, but you'd think against Luton, you would think that we could control the game. Aston Villa's a more difficult game on paper at Villa Park, but then against West Ham at Old Trafford, you'd think we'd have more than 51% possession. I mean, Faz, do you think do you think Ten Hag is setting up to be that team that is more transitional and trying to go for the counter-attack a lot of the time?
Yeah, because you're playing to, obviously, some of the key player strengths, which is Rasmus, Rashford and Kanato, right? Pace and power FC, that's what it is. And you saw the best chances that we've had over the course of the season are from scenarios where players are able to find a winger or a forward, from deep. You saw Rashford to Garnacho today. You saw Bruno Fernandes get in there. So best chances, all of ours comes from those scenarios. Whether we score them or not is a different thing, but that's where the chance creation is coming from. I said, look, if you want to win games, play to Bruno and Rashford's strength, which is counter-attacking football, and that works. Funny enough that Luton have, players in there that played out from the back perfectly. Like, you saw how, I even said, right, remember, I said how comfortable they are in tight spots. It's unreal. Yeah. It's like they know where to pass before the pass even got to them. Yeah. And that's, football. And obviously, they're Luton, they're much down in the table, but it shows that they are clearly working on this in the training ground, and it works for them.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think the way we're playing, like you said, against Aston Villa, we're trying to be very transactional, trying to be very counter-attacking, so naturally we're not going to hold the ball if you're always looking for the run, you're always looking for that passing behind. But I think the fact that Luton, we're watching a team like Luton, and no offence to Luton, but like you said, they're probably a team that's going to be fighting for relegation for the whole season. The fact that they can pass the ball very clean, very smooth, out the back, under pressure, like under serious pressure from United, and be able to just work it through the defence, into the midfield, into attack. I honestly feel like we can't give our players excuses.
Yes.
Because if anyone was to say to you right now, which player from Luton would you take? Everyone would be like, I don't know. But they're playing better than our players.
Ross Barkley, I'll tell you that.
Ross Barkley.
Is to sub Bruno?
In today's game, he was better than him, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, in today's game, he was better than him. But I mean, like, in general, across the whole pitch, even in their defence, they've got players who a lot of people wouldn't even take at United, but they're still able to play more comfortably on the ball, be able to take better touches, be able to find the right passes throughout the defence. I think we should stop giving our players excuses. Unless you're just saying that you're not good enough to be, the whole back four, the whole midfield isn't good enough to be United players, we'd start looking at these players and say, you know what? We're watching Luton do it. Why can't you do it? There's no more excuses here. You can't say, "Oh, Bruno's not good enough to do it."
They're playing as a team.
They're doing it. Other teams are doing it. Lower placed teams in the league are doing it comfortably. So something's got to change.
I really do think, as much as people may hate me saying it, but it can only come down to one thing. It's what the manager's making them do during the week. Because all week firstly, we're playing one game a week. Plenty of time for you to work on what you need to work on, rest, recovery, whatever it is. All week you're working on studying the opposition team, and then for you to come out and play like that away from home at Luton, where do you see yourself as Manchester United saying we're going away at Luton and we're scared almost the way Luton play, and we're not able to find answers when they play out from the back? When you have powerful players like Rasmus, Rashford, you have to ask yourself, but I can't sit here and complain because I'm still under the mindset of 3 points, just get Champions League football. If we can get a Wembley trip out of this whole season, then we'll look forward to next season. Before the show, as Ian told you, FFP, we keep complaining because we make bad transactions. Hopefully, with Ineos coming in, we can make some good transactions this summer. But expectation is what kills you. You don't have expectations, then you'll be fine. I didn't have any expectation other than just win the game, just 3 points. Doesn't matter if it's 1-0 or 5-0, just win the game. Yeah.
I think that's how you have to base this game today. The fact that we've been on such a good run at this moment in time, and you look at it, don't you, and you think it's 3 points, because we move on. But the concern is we're not controlling games, even for large parts of the game. And that ability, we did see out the game today, but we could have made it, so much easier. You choose the right moments, you do this, that, whatever on the pitch. But even that control, at 2-0, we should have been controlling that midfield.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about that because we're going to talk about the midfield three of Bruno, Casemiro and Mainu and what parts of that potentially need to improve. We're going to talk about that because a lot of opinions today on all three of them players. Some positive and some negative. We're going to get through some super chats. And we have Cole saying, can't wait for Ricky on Evans for once. I'll agree, and it's not often he was a rock. Ricky sent me a voice note to read out, so I will be doing that as well. And I agree with you, Johnny Evans was brilliant. Dan John says, cheers, Mark, love the watch along. Time for me to do my own exercise with the missus. Oh, okay, heard we're doing lunges tonight. I didn't know where that was going. Asher Hamrick says, Mark is entering the chat. Yeah, he's not happy about the lucky word. I am Jika says, the thumbnail almost killed Goldbridge. Can one of you guys explain criticising a game and Erik ten Hag doesn't mean Erik ten Hag out. He gets so defensive. I mean, we'll talk about it. It's CJR. Luton had the lucky escape. We could have been 4-1. So Molly says, look, I can't speak. We won 3 points in the bag. Patrick says, after 18 months, this is our playing style. Counter-attacking football versus Luton. Ten Hag, we had our best XI and had 20 plus shots. Brent McCormack says, we had no control, but I think we just about deserved it. Tiago Brown says, I don't appreciate this. Ollie and Mourinho, great results, and you guys were livid. Ollie went 28 games away unbeaten, but now champion Ten Hag, 430 mil. Henry Chan says, outside of that final header, Luton never did much with the ball, so possession isn't necessarily a direct indicator of how likely they are to win.
Luton didn't much with the ball.
No, I agree. Possession doesn't win you games, but it's just interesting to see it compared to
They were fizzing it in our box.
Yeah, they're 20-something shots.
22 shots today.
Most shots they've had in a Premier League game this season.
It's against us.
To be fair, though, it's just how many of them shots were really dangerous. How many great saves does Onana have to make? Not many.
Sure.
But in terms of the possession, okay, yeah, they had more possessions, but I was using it as something to say, well, Ten Hag says we want to control games, but that's not how we're approaching football games. So it doesn't add up really. But if he wants to play transitional high press football, which is what it looks like on the pitch, we're not controlling games by doing that. But it is working to our advantage because we're winning games.
Can I just quickly say something?
Yeah.
Controlling a game may also mean thinking. If I was thinking like Erik ten Hag, it could also mean that defend. Don't always have to be on the ball because you know that they have pacey players. In second half, you've got to use Lindelof against Ogbeni, who's going to cause you a lot of problems. You've got Doughty on the other side. So controlling the game might be having defenders and midfielders in positions to make blocks, to make saves and stuff like that. So that's a way of controlling the game as well.
Quinn Star said we had better chances, but they played better. We did have better chances. I agree with that. Von says, if anything, the scoreline was lucky for Luton. It should have been 6-0. I mean, it should have been, especially after the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Andrea says, we were outplayed. Man United missed chances. Joanne says, Luton were aggressive, yeah, but we locked them out, and that's what Erik ten Hag intended. Scrappy wins don't always mean lucky. S. Sybane says, other teams above us have struggled as well. And Billy Welch says, who in their right mind thinks we should control the game? Wingers/Bruno constantly lose the ball. We couldn't keep the ball for the last 90 seconds. Legendary Villain says, De Bruyne creates multiple chances for Haaland. We see this every game. Beth, what chances did Bruno create for Højlund apart from running like a headless chicken? Levi Pegler says, Luton have been a hard place to go for a lot of teams. We got the win, and I think Garnacho just needs a rest. He looks tired and a bit mentally too. And Watch No Face says, must finish better. We're creating multiple clear chances these days. Bruno needs a rest, too many games. Poor play, giving away the ball before Barkley chance. Yeah, the end of the game there, that was just really reckless from Bruno, giving that ball away, and it could have cost us. And I agree with a lot of people saying Garnacho looks tired, but we're going to talk about Garnacho as well, because I think he's getting a bit too much heat today, to be honest, but we'll get into it all. First of all, give my voice a rest. Mordz, Kobe Mainoo, 18 years old. I think we can all agree the best player in our team on the ball, by far. And then he's got Bruno and Casemiro, who today have a bit of a reputation for giving the ball away too many times. Is it going to be a problem for Man United if 2 out of 3 of the midfielders are constantly giving away possession, and it can happen a lot of the times in dangerous areas?
Yeah, 100%, especially because Casemiro plays so deep as well. And it's scary for when your DM is the one who's probably the least comfortable on the ball. I mean, Bruno maybe, but when you've got someone like Casemiro, it's not even just his passing, it's the tight areas. I'm worried about it when the ball's getting into him, and I'm thinking, is he going to take the right touch? Is he going to find the right pass? Is he going to make the right turn and whatnot? And to be fair, that's where I want Mainoo to be, because I think he's the most press resistant of every single player on the pitch, easily. I think it's rare that you see Mainoo get pressed by someone and then lose possession. And even if he does, he's putting in a shift to get it back regardless. Casemiro's not. And if you want a player to be the last player back and to have that much pressure, you kind of want Mainoo to be, out of the 3 midfielders, you're going to want Mainoo to be that guy. And I think that's where the problem is, because the fact that it has to be Mainoo, it can't be Bruno, because Bruno's going to be playing as like a false 9 sometimes, and it can't be Casemiro, because he's like I said, he is still a bit, I say it's a bit, what's the word, like shaky sometimes when he's playing so far back. So, I mean, I said straight away from that Mainoo's first game, he's easily technically our best player. Both-footed, he can pass it, long short passes, long passes. We just need to find someone who can complement him perfectly. And I think if Casemiro was to go in the summer or whatnot, we just need to find another player that kind of has a similar kind of play style to Mainoo, so then he doesn't always have to be that last player back. Because if we don't, then he's going to keep on having the same mistakes.
You need somebody with legs next to him.
You need somebody next to him that can kind of complement him.
Was it just a coincidence, Kev, that obviously Maguire and Casemiro went off at half-time? Both weren't having good games, to be honest with you. I think Casemiro is so important to us, by the way. He just gives the ball away a bit too much, but Bruno does, and I really like him as well. So they both fall into the same category. But in terms of... McTominay came on and so did Johnny Evans. And we were better in the second half, really, overall.
Yeah.
Were them 2 players a big reason for that for you?
Johnny Evans was, thought he was colossal in the second half. Thought he was really, really good. Comes in, you know exactly what you're going to get from him, experienced, everything that was thrown at him, absolutely quality. And then you look at the substitution at half-time. I think the Maguire one was probably... He seemed to get a kick on his ankle, didn't he? So I don't know whether we'll know 100% whether he took him off because he was on a yellow card. Casemiro, I think he had to bring him off at half-time.
Yeah, yellow as well.
Yeah, he's on a yellow card, and it affected him last week when we played Aston Villa. He picks up a yellow card, which he didn't deserve because Matty Cash dived. But it's such a huge part of his game, you know, breaking up play. He is going to go into challenges, so you're taking something up. Once he gets that yellow card, you're kind of giving Ten Hag this decision to make. And a lot of United fans have slagged Ten Hag off, saying that he don't react to situations. He's done it at half-time today. It was a big call to make.
It was, and I think all you can give really is Johnny Evans huge credit, because, you know, he's come into the team again and his composure really helped us, because, I mean, I honestly came on here and said how good Maguire's been. And that first half was just, honestly, just terrible. Like, he just looked completely out of sorts and just completely shaky. And a lot of our senior players just seemed like really kind of on edge and like the heads were going a little bit. So that's exactly what it seemed to happen with Maguire, because you see, he puts his foot in, misses like a challenge, and then that free kick where he literally played him in, and you think his head's gone here.
That's typical Maguire, can't lie.
It's mad because he's been so good, and then today it just looks like his complete old self, and Johnny Evans came in and cleared everything up and was great. He really was.
But that nervousness breeds through the team. If you've got, again, we've said about Onana, having Maguire playing in front of him when he wasn't in form, and having these players to have the faith to actually start playing out from the back. You have to have that faith in the players at the back.
In terms of Bruno, Faz, because I wanted to just continue on the midfield. Obviously, McTominay came on for Casemiro. Talked about that a little bit. How good Mainoo is on the ball. But in terms of Bruno, because I know you're not a big fan, and a lot of people in the chat are talking about this. Do you think when Mount's back fit, that's serious competition for him now?
Yeah. That's the only player that can play that position as well. It's just, you never really see him getting benched. You never really see someone else take his position other than Scott McTominay. And you need someone who's gonna, bring some sort of an output when it comes to chance creation. And Scott's not gonna do that, let's be honest. Weghorst didn't do that as well. So the only player that can do that is Mason Mount. And for the money that we spent on Mason Mount and the age that he is, the profile that he is, it makes absolute sense for him to come in and kind of compete with Bruno. And I think competition may be the thing that gets Bruno playing a bit more. He was my player to watch, in the build-up. And I said this, I think it was West Ham or Villa game, if I'm not mistaken. I said the team are performing this well and Bruno's performing not that well, it's not a good sign at all. And the team today performed good in lots of moments, but Bruno's just non-existent in my opinion today. I really didn't like his performance today.
A lot of people are really frustrated with Bruno's performance today. I mean, Mordz, do you think it's also like, when you're playing so many games, like, he's literally played non-stop for 4 years for us, like genuinely.
Yeah.
Like, do you think it's also like, these little passes that he's giving away that people are getting so frustrated by, is that like mental fatigue as well, do you think?
It has to be draining. It has to be. You're playing every single... And we've been in quite a few competitions. Obviously, this season we kind of went out a bit early, but in other seasons we played a lot of games, 55, 60 games. So I can completely understand why he feels, or why he might... It's a bit of a weak excuse in my opinion, actually. But if he was to say it, I'm drained, I can hold my hands up and say fair enough, because you played a lot of games for United. But in terms of the Mount situation, I feel like it's more of a competition for, I know it's going to sound weird, but for Casemiro, because I think he's likely to drop mainly back and play Bruno and Mount together. I don't think Bruno has any competition with anyone in the team. I don't think there's not one player where I can say, he's going to rival Bruno for his spot. No one.
Well, in that case, that's a big question in terms of the manager, because the manager then goes against his own ethos, which is every position needs competition. I'd love for a journalist to ask Erik ten Hag this question. Well, since you said that, who's actually competing with
he is his captain
Bruno?
now. You have to remember that.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
That does make a big difference.
It does make a massive difference.
What kind of captain has an IQ of taking a tight angle shot and with a couple of minutes to go?
Yeah, no, it was a poor decision. But I'm just saying, as a captain, naturally, you kind of have a bit of a leeway or favouritism from your manager. He made you the captain for a reason. So I don't think Mount would compete with Bruno for that position. If anything, it'll be him competing with the right wing position, or Mainoo will have to drop back and he'll compete for that 8 position.
For me, I mean, everybody knows how much I love Bruno. I've defended him so many times on this forum. Today's a game where I can't defend it. Like, he was really poor. Like, genuinely, he was poor, like, giving away the ball constantly. That thing in the last 2 minutes that is not something you should be doing, like, as a player, but especially not a captain. You've got to just keep the ball and keep it there. Today wasn't a good game from him, but if he plays like he does today, like every single game, then of course, Matt has to be competition for him, because I think Mount's a very good player. But if Bruno plays the way that I know he can play, he is his captain and he's the best 10 that we have. It's just, we've not seen that Bruno for quite a while now, and I think he's had a lot of dips this season, and people are becoming very frustrated with it, because I see players give the ball away a lot. Like, I do. Like, for example, I was watching City Chelsea yesterday. De Bruyne gave the ball away loads of times, but De Bruyne makes unreal chances and he's an excellent player. Thing is with Bruno now,
and scores goals.
Yeah, and thing is with Bruno now, he's giving the ball away constantly, but you're not getting anything back for it, like nothing back. So he needs to be better. Today was really, really poor, and this season's not been a good season for him, to be honest.
I'd be very much open to Manchester United and Ineos selling Bruno, Rashford, and Luke Shaw this summer. Very much open.
No way.
Selling Bissaka, very much open.
Bruno, Rashford, and Luke Shaw.
Bruno, Rashford, Luke Shaw, Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire.
Obviously not at the same time.
Well, if we don't get F'd by FFP, then I'd be more than happy to raise funds from those players, because the furniture is creaking. The floorboards are creaking. And we're constantly making, we don't need to get rid of it because it's working and whatever. Well, I'm sure you'd want to upgrade. And if you want to keep this, I said this, if you want to keep this manager and really want to push and upgrade this club, get rid of the players that haven't been performing under numerous managers and bring in the players. Because I just look at it like this. Would Erik ten Hag in any other club look at Bruno Fernandes, Rashford, Luke Shaw and say, I want to buy those players?
Yes.
I disagree.
I think he would. And if you want to talk about players underperforming, you don't say Bruno, Rashford and Luke Shaw. You want to look at underperforming, you look at Maguire, you look at Anthony, you look at even Onana of this season, you look at, I don't know, Martial. They're the players that you look at and say underperforming. You don't look at the guy who had the most goals this season. Bruno's had the most goals and assists since he's been at the club. And Luke Shaw, he was pretty good last season as well. Like, you don't look at the players who actually have played well in previous seasons. I understand they've been there for a long time. Fair enough. I understand that argument. They've been there for, Luke Shaw and Rashford have been there for almost 10 years now in the first team. But if you're looking at underperformers, you don't look at them three. I just looking at
Ajax's teams that he built, and I don't see how he would ever be into buying a player like Marcus Rashford, Luke Shaw.
Can I just come in on that? We're really diverting here, but I thought Rashford's played well today. Like I think since the new year, actually since probably like the
night out.
Since the night out, I think he's actually been playing well, and it's like he's okay. Yeah, again he didn't get a goal or assist, but I remember since forever for me Rashford to have a good game has had to have a goal or assist because over 90 minutes he just wasn't giving it to you. Yeah. Whereas last week at Aston Villa didn't get a goal or assist. I walked away from that game thinking he played well. Today he didn't get a goal or assist. I walked away from that game thinking he played well.
He should have done a Garnacho chance.
Yeah, he should have, and that was a great pass. Did he give the ball away a bit too much? Yeah, he is one of them players that does it. Bruno falls into the category, Casemiro does. Rashford does fall into that category as well. But he was creating good chances, and I thought he had a good opportunity to put some good shots. Kaminsky had a great game. I just don't think I do think a lot of fans find it easy to always just target, Rashford, Bruno, because these are players that come up all the time. But Bruno had a poor game today, I admit that. But I think Rashford had a decent game today, to be honest. It wasn't amazing, but it was good.
I agree.
He was better than Garnacho if you wanted to put two players up against each other and try and measure it off that. Yeah. I think Garnacho just there's a lot of people that will probably be giving him stick today. He had the chance where he's took it round the goalkeeper and that. But the great thing about Garnacho is he will constantly keep going. You always get that sense of something's going to happen when Garnacho's got the ball. So it's not an issue. He's had a bit of an off day today, but again he kept going all the way till the end. Chances, creating chances. Yes, he's in the moment. He's not made the right decisions, which is something that I've said about Rashford so many times before. Decision making.
Yeah, for example, like Garnacho got an assist today. Yeah, I would say Rashford had a better game than Garnacho.
Well, that assist for Højlund, that counts.
Yeah, it counts. I mean, it counts. It counts on FPL. But like you would say, Rashford had a better game than him, but. That just shows that numbers. You need to look at an overall performance of someone. But we are gonna talk about Garnacho. I'll read some super chats out and Luke Shaw as well. Another one. Some news we've got to talk about. Dennis G says we need to find an N'Golo Kante type of player. Get the scouts working. Rory C says with the forwards. I mean, it's very hard to find someone like prime N'Golo Kante.
It's very easy to say that, isn't it?
I mean, he was an unbelievable player. Rory C says with the forwards not passing, do you think Ten Hag is telling them to pass? If so, are they not listening or not good enough? Either way, he keeps picking them. Akhil Aravind says that game should have been 5-1 to United. This game, want to ask you guys, is it really Erik ten Hag? Some of these players aren't good enough to play possession football. These players are from Jose Oliveira. Watch No Face says, must finish better. We're creating multiple clear chances these days. Bruno needs a rest too. Too many poor games. Poor play giving away the ball before Barkley chance. Levi says, Luton has been a hard place to go for a lot of teams. We got a win. I think Garnacho just needs a rest. We've done that one as well. International says, I agree, Rashford was good today. Good team play. Legendary says, this is embarrassing. This has nothing to do with fatigue. Bruno's always played like this. It's just that Bruno gets goal and assist and everyone accepts it. Top players play well. He is not good. Rashford was bad too. I mean, so many different opinions in the chat. So get your opinions in and we'll read them out. But we'll talk about Garnacho. But in terms of something that I picked up on, Mordz, was when we went 2-0 up very quickly. By the way, we've not even spoke about Højlund yet. So when we went 2-0 up very quickly, you start to see what happened at Newport, where we're getting in good positions and there was shots from silly angles, pass was on and we're shooting. Where if you're not 2-0 up, the players are making different decisions. I honestly think, especially that early in the game, you've got to get at least to three goals clear before you maybe start taking a few more risks.
Yeah, 100%. Especially considering that the goals weren't good goals; they were mistakes.
Yeah,
both of them were mistakes. So
and
it's not
the Hoyland one. He said in his interview afterwards he 100% meant it.
100%.
He does. He does that.
Okay, but I mean, yeah, he might have meant to do that, but it wasn't a good shot from Garnacho. It was kind of like it was pretty much a deflection. Like, it's hit him. He's not realising.
I thought it was an excellent goal if he meant to do it.
He did say that he meant to do it. So.
Fair enough, but it's not a well worked goal or anything like that. It's just a shot that's hit him. He might have meant it cool, but look, they're not two good goals where Luton are thinking, oh, like that's a good goal. Luton are probably thinking for both of those goals, Luton are thinking that could have easily been prevented, both of them. So it's not like we're controlling the game for the first 10 minutes and we've just had two amazing goals from like great teamwork. That's not the case. So because that's not the case, you got to treat that like it's 0-0. Because Luton could have, like they did, they could have completely flipped the game over and started playing better football than us. And unfortunately, it is the players like Garnacho. I remember against Newport, it was Anthony as well. Not as much Rashford, but those kind of players that they kind of get a bit ahead of themselves and think, you know what, we've got a game here that we can get a couple goals in, a couple of assists, maybe not assists, but a couple goals in, and they try and force it when naturally they've probably been instructed to not do that throughout the game. They've probably been instructed to maybe pass it to Hoyland a few more times, pass it to Rashford, or try and work it better across the front three, which they've obviously got a bit excited and not done that. But what I will say though is, on the pitch, I mean, Bruno's the captain, he's got to be the one to say that. Come on lads, like, it's 2-0 up, cool, but the game's not done, it's been 10 minutes. How many times have you seen United lose 2-0 goal differences? So many times this season, and even last season. So as a captain of Bruno, or any of the leaders on the pitch have got to say, look, Garnacho obviously is one of the younger players, like, tone it down a little bit, let's actually control the game and try and get another goal instead of forcing it at every opportunity.
He mentioned it in his post-match again after Newport as well.
I was just going to say that,
He mentioned that, and he said why we made the same mistakes again. Yeah. Luckily, we ended up winning the game today, but you can't get too ahead of yourselves too early. 2-0, most dangerous scoreline in football. We've got to be at least 3 goals clear before you start taking a few more risks. But in terms of Garnacho, Kev, for me today, probably one of his poorest games all season, but the guy looks knackered. Like, his defensive work with Dalot, by the way, was excellent. It really was. The amount of crosses that them two stopped coming in, and he works so hard. He's developed so much as a starter, especially his defensive work. He's developed a lot. He's getting himself always in dangerous positions. Okay, he made a couple wrong decisions today, and he should have scored that chance. No one's saying that, but anybody can miss an easy chance. And I think people need to just understand that this is a player that is 19, that he's had in his first season as a consistent starter, that has probably played too many minutes recently. I mean, do you think the heat's a little bit too much today?
I do, but I also get it that football fans, United fans, will, jump on this and they'll say it wasn't great. I'd be more worried if this had happened 2 or 3 games in a row and you look at it as being bang out of form, but it hasn't. I think he's been brilliant this season, and one thing we've always said on here was at a time when he kind of looked like an impact player. Can he make this jump up now where he actually starts games? Because we were saying when he was coming on and a game was open and we're chasing it, we're getting beat 2-1, the game's totally different, to starting a game for Garnacho when, say, like a team comes to Old Trafford that plays a low block or they're going to be defensive, that it's totally different. This season, he's become, he's just ageing very well at Manchester United. As I said earlier, every time he picks the ball up, fans are excited, you're on your feet, and we don't have too many of them players, so it's refreshing to have somebody like Garnacho. And
he'll learn as well, that's the thing. Like today, I always say this with Garnacho, like I feel myself saying it a lot, if he just does this in this moment, if he just does that in this moment, that's him learning now at this age. Like when he's doing some great things, but when he continues to learn even further, I do think that the potential is just sky high, and Ten Hag can clearly see that.
He's got age on his side as well, hasn't he?
He plays him constantly.
I think the problem is the fact that we have other wingers that people are obviously like Diallo. Yeah. Obviously, not so much Anthony. I know there might be some Anthony fans out there, but the fact that we have other, I don't know, but because we have other wingers, potentially other people that can play those positions, that's why people are like, oh, Garnacho, like, if he doesn't do this, maybe we should bring him off and try this person or try that person, when it's not really that simple, because Diallo could have missed the same chance, Rashford could have missed that same chance, anyone could have missed that same chance. He should have scored it, 100%, should have scored a chance, but I think it's because there is a little bit more competition for him in his place. That's why people kind of got onto him quicker than maybe other players.
I think one thing I would say, Faz, I think today, honestly, that he should have, like when we did the substitution for Amrabat coming on, I feel like Garnacho should have gone off for either Anthony or Ahmad. I personally would rather give Ahmad a go, just purely because Garnacho genuinely looked knackered. Like, he was sprinting that pitch up and down because on the counter-attack, and he was also doing the defensive work as well. You could see how exhausted he was. And at that age, you just want to be careful because you want to, you know, keep these players fit and on the right path, really, in terms of fitness and manage the minutes right.
Yeah, I've said it before. I don't know if you guys remember. I said you have to manage a young player's minutes well. It's fantastic playing them, but I'm more than happy to have, you know, young players on the bench. He's burst into the scene and he's given so much positivity to the team that the manager almost feels obligated to play him because he can get you goals. You know, how many times did he take a shot with his left foot today that looked like it was going to come off dangerous? Obviously that volley as well that led to a goal. But yeah, I do agree that in the second half he should have brought him on. The heat that he's getting, he looked knackered or whatever, but it's not. He didn't look knackered because he's been playing a lot of games. No, these are high-level athletes getting the best nutrition, food, everything. They're prepped physically to be ready for the weekend. So it's not that. I think it's the team that we played today. You know, Luton. They really ran us ragged. In the space of 10 seconds, the ball could have been in their box, back to our box, and we're defending, you know, and it's very, very difficult. Where you play some teams, what they'll do is they'll slow the game down a little bit, they'll carry the ball to midfield, slow it down again, maybe pass it back, where here it was literally smashing end to end, proper Premier League game end to end, and that is now bringing a new level of experience for him. You know, he's probably not at that in his career, like at this level, so he's bringing some sort of experience. High level players who've played in the Premier League for many years, what you'll notice is, you know, the likes of Henderson, Kante, you know, top players, they know when to run hard and when to jockey a player, when to stand, it's like conserving your energy, and these things you gain over the course of your career. So I don't have any qualms with him. I actually don't understand why people are so angry with him. It's possibly because he missed a 1v1, which I thought he's going to score. I would have put my house on it thinking he's going to score. I was celebrating. I got a bit cocky and I started celebrating. But I have no issue. He's 19 years old, 18, 19 if I'm not mistaken. Absolutely nothing. Zero. I actually think he's done so well, he could be in contention for one of our players of the season.
Well, he got back-to-back Player of the Month awards.
This is astonishing. A 19-year-old kid, he's not a kid, he's an adult now, but a 19-year-old coming into this club and bringing you goals and assists and performances whilst everything is so shit. Yeah. Right? Look at that. It's like, I said it before, right? Wayne Rooney, when he was at Everton, looking at the teams and saying, fucking hell, these lot are shit. That's Mino and Garnacho looking at all of these guys. Remember Ralph Rangnick when he's looked at Elanga's performance and said, some of the other players should be looking at that. How many times this season have you seen Man United score goals because Garnacho's won a ball? Like, he's read a pass from the goalkeeper's pass and he's won a ball. And Rashford scored one of the goals. Remember? A couple of games ago, I think it was like 3-4 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, right? He's bringing loads of output that you will not get from the likes of Anthony. Will Ahmad get a chance or not? Look, Ahmad has to prove himself continually on the training pitch. We see the odd 10-second clip and we think, yeah, wow, you know. But it would have been nice to just give Ahmad that 15-minute. I think more so, the manager's looking at Rashford's pass to Garnacho and thinking, you know what? I've got another goal in this game and I don't want to take him off in case he gets that goal, and I keep that trust, because he said that before as well about Garnacho. Is I remember specifically he said that before the Wolves game, he said Garnacho's given me loads of energy for 60 minutes, 45 minutes. It's time for him to now give it 90 minutes, and that's how you grow. Yeah. So yeah, I'm happy. I would have liked to see Ahmad, but it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal at all. I'm
still trusting Ten Hag that he's going to bring him through at the right point. Hopefully, I do think he should have had more minutes. So at this point, I'm going to have to say I do think if I was him, I'd be thinking, God, could I not even get 5 or 10 minutes here? But I mean, we'll see when Ten Hag does bring him through. But Kev, interestingly enough, and Andy Mitten asked Erik ten Hag after the game if the momentum from 4 league wins, 3 away from home, was fragile or genuinely building. And Ten Hag said fragile because United missed too many chances and they should have scored 5 today.
That's, yeah, well, at the risk of saying what I said earlier, we're just not clinical, and that is an issue at the moment, but we're winning games. You know, you can't not be happy. It is impressive to be winning games, to win games in any kind of manner, but you get that momentum, don't you? It's like, move on to the next game now. These players they'll feel like they can just go out and win. You know, it's infectious. It's all about top 4 now, isn't it? Obviously, Tottenham yesterday dropping points, so we're on their coattails. And next we'll be looking at Aston Villa. It's about getting ourselves into that top 4, which maybe at the end of last year we kind of looked at it and you would have thought United had no chance of finishing in the top 4. All of a sudden, you know, bit of run of form. Højlund started scoring, which is great, and you look at it and you think, yeah, it is a possibility.
Yeah, I think. Listen, winning a game, whether it's scrappy or not, and winning a series of games, it's always a proud feeling. It doesn't matter how you win. You couldn't care less. Especially, look, do you think the players will go in the changing room and not high five each other and think, fucking shit? No, they won't. Yeah. They were mid-table. Nearly with Chelsea, competing with Chelsea, and now you're looking at European football. By the way, if Manchester United don't make Champions League, all of these players get 25% wage reduction. Yeah. So now, all of a sudden, you've turned it around and you're looking at Champions League football possibly, and you're feeling like, you know what, actually, wow, we've just not been unbeaten this year. Maybe we can do it, you know. Like I said, it doesn't matter if we're 1v1 and we miss, they missed as well. That's how I look at it. Yeah. They didn't have the quality. They had Morris up front who couldn't give them anything, and Barkley hit the post. So it's their problem, not ours. Yeah. We did our job, which is score the goals that when we could, and we won the game. And we'll just keep going. And then you're looking at other teams dropping points, and you say, you know what? Wow, they're dropping points. It only motivates us more to keep pushing like this.
Do you know what's crazy? Right, okay. Man United have had 99 shots faced in the last 5 Premier League games. But they're also unbeaten in the last 5 Premier League games. I mean, is that sustainable, really?
Make it make sense.
Poor Andre, getting scapegoated.
No, it's not sustainable at all. But what can you do when Martinez is injured again? What can you do when Luke Shaw is shaky with his injury?
I think he's not just down to the back line, though. I think a lot of it is down to giving away them balls in the midfield. I'm going to be honest, and I love Bruno.
It's controlling the midfield.
I said, I can't. I hate to do it, but your feelings are gonna get hurt.
You hurt my feelings all the time. It's nothing new.
It's just Bruno Fernandes. It's just possession-based football is not his forte. Counter-attacking football is his forte, and it's probably. I've said this. The funniest thing is I've said it before. Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford counter-attacking would absolutely destroy teams, absolutely obliterate teams. But that's not the manager we have, and that's not the football that you want to see. Because it's not, apparently you can't win your leagues. I actually love counter-attacking football. I actually hate Man City football. Who here likes to sit and watch Man City with some food in front of them? Nobody.
No, I don't enjoy watching
Nobody.
City.
I hate
I tell you, sadly, even though I dislike them so much, Arsenal and Liverpool are much
better football
than City. Yeah.
Much better. Tottenham play, much more entertaining football, if you want to say. Villa as well. Tiki-taka football, possession-based, I don't enjoy it. But if that's what it takes to win the league and that's what Manchester United direction is going in, then Bruno Fernandes is not the player.
I love watching us counter-attack going forward. I don't love us conceding chance after chance to the opposition, having to hold on to my chair like this, hoping somebody's going to manage to get the ball away. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how we go on. So far, obviously, we're on a really good run in 2024. Will we be able to keep it up? It's going to be interesting to see how we play things. And we actually have got City coming up at the Etihad. That's going to be a massive...
Is it not? Are we not playing it?
No, it's
We're away.
It's going to be a huge game. But let's talk about something really positive. I mean, Rasmus Højlund, youngest player in Premier League history to score in 6 successive games. Start. 2 goals today, two good goals as well from him. And also now goes into the category of Manchester United, scoring 6 in 6 with the same names as Ronaldo, Cantona, Van Nistelrooy, who have all done that as well. 6 in 6 successive games. Like, he just is on fire, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I saw the stat that Sky put up and it said about his shot accuracy, and I think it used to, well, before he got his first Premier League goal, it was about 40-something%, and now it's like 90%. So you're seeing that he's actually he's slowly just becoming a better player. He's becoming more clinical. Before, I mean, it's hard to, I can't remember every single chance that he missed before, but I feel like now the chances that he probably would have 100% might have just missed a target, or he might have, the keeper might have saved it. Now he's slotting them in. Now he's actually putting in good finishes. Like the one today, the first goal, it's on 1-on-1. It's the exact same chance that Garnacho had, to be fair. And they both tried to do the same thing, but Haaland scored it. And it just shows a bit more quality. I think everyone can see that anyway, that he has the quality, he has the attributes to be a top striker. But it's just about being clinical and actually getting over the line and getting these goals in. And now that he's doing it, I think everyone's realising that he's actually a top player. That for considering his age as well, he's 100% a top player and he can definitely go far.
It's just nice that the players around him have decided to start passing to him now.
I mean, I still think like his service is limited.
Yeah, I think it's limited.
Like, imagine if he's actually getting more service. I mean, Kev, he has 7 goals in 6 games, which is very, very good. He's 21. Like, I look at him, I think, one thing I've generally been surprised at since he came to Man United, by the way, especially recently, is how clinical he is in terms of the fact, obviously, you know, he went a long time without scoring, but he wasn't getting much chances. But now when I look at him, like, he's pulling off some quality finishes from all sort of different places on the pitch, on his right, on his left, today with his chest. His hold-up play is improving. You look at him, how muddy he was. Like, his kit was basically brown when he came off the pitch. Yeah. His work ethic, you know, the athletic ability from him, the pace. He feels like he has everything, doesn't it?
I think the major positive today that I hadn't really seen from Haaland was his actual hold-up play. The amount of times the ball was like played into him, hold up, one touch, bang, bang. You know, he's frightening, and his pace as well. You know, that's another attribute of his. But I know he went, 14 games without a goal? Yeah. You know, and there were fans and supporters probably looking and thinking, he's struggling, have we overpaid? But he's 21 years old, and I think everybody could see that he was getting in them positions, and it was just whether the players around him, you know, could basically assist him, which it has been happening, but he's made his own luck today as well. And that is a great finish, the chest one. Yeah. You know, he did say after the game, I know Mordz ain't having it, but he says he meant it, and if you watch the replay...
I'd say the same thing.
No, his interview goes, yeah, 100% I meant it. Yeah. He said, I'm always working on stuff like that.
It wasn't tongue-in-cheek.
How do you work on that? Okay, whatever.
You said reflexes and stuff.
Yeah. Maybe me and you can go and we'll do some training and training ground.
Yeah, if Ronaldo or Messi scores it, everyone's like, oh, he meant it, you know, and all that. But
I mean, remember when Ronnie scored with his knee once, and people said, oh, did he mean it? He didn't mean it. Or it was in the World Cup when the ball bounced off his back and ended in his
shoulder
front.
or something, wasn't it? Yeah.
Listen, it is what it is. In the heat of the moment, he thought he needed to guide the ball that way, and he did. Whether he meant it or not, clearly it was enough for him to turn his body that way. If he didn't mean it, it wasn't like he's stepping away or ducking.
Like
he actually opened up his body and directed the ball that way.
He put in some shift today.
I think I will say, you know, eventually these lucky chances will dry out, because some of them are kind of lucky. You know, you're in the right spot. The volley didn't go off right, so you ended up guiding it.
But he's also shown, and you think of the goal against Tottenham at Old Trafford, something out of nothing. That just bang, bang.
I'd love for him to get a goal against Man City. Oh my goodness.
Do you know what
Sorry, Sean Mills.
Do you know what I'm thinking about? Genuinely, the record for successive goals in Premier League games is 11. Do you reckon he could? Yeah. Do you reckon?
Vardy,
I mean, obviously we're just over halfway
there.
That
man is a freak of nature.
That means he'll have to score against City then.
Yeah, that's the only problem, isn't it? But you know, I'm
sorry,
but if Chelsea can score against them at the Etihad, can United? I'm setting myself up here, aren't I?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
imagine Rasmus goal and no Haaland goal.
Can I just say as well, Haaland and Højlund have swapped energies, but Højlund, one thing I would say on him is, what was I going to say then? I literally lost in my mind, but it was. Oh yeah, I was giving us a bit of a shout out. Ever since the United Stand interview, I mean, he's just been on fire.
Oh man,
take credit for that.
Who needs some good form? Send him our way.
Bruno.
But yeah, exactly. But we've got some super chats in. Chris says the team showed great character to bring out a good away result. Kia says shout out to Kobbie Mainoo, rock solid at 18. Mackenzie says, Mackenzie, I'm not going to bring. I mean, He says, I'm not going to bring that up. Lee says, hi guys, I'm unhappy with the win, but please stop making excuses for Bruno. It's Manchester United, not excuses United. And
happy with the win, or unhappy?
He says, I'm unhappy with the win, but please stop making excuses for Bruno. It's
How can you be unhappy with a win?
Yeah, quality, though, I think that's right.
I think people are frustrated at our performance, but I'm buzzing to get 3 points. But I'm going to be honest.
You should be used to it though. We've done this all season. We've not played well for 90 minutes, so.
The performance wasn't good enough, but it's one of them. I'm just happy to win the game, to be honest. I'll still be watching match today comfortably, knowing we at least win it.
Yeah.
International says, based on tactics and style of play, Erik ten Hag is not good enough. What does Amad have to do to play? We can afford to take Garnacho off and bring him in the second half. Gary Blatt says, how do you guys feel about going for Tuchel? I mean, Ten Hag's still in job, so I don't even want to really. I mean, Tuchel, we're not even entertaining that. Ten Hag's our manager, so until that looks like it's not going to be, then we'll start talking about it. Kia says, Garner looks under pressure to score if he doesn't seem confident finishing. He scores a few. He be back. Bruno needs a mental rest, shocking decision making. I mean, Garnacho, obviously, he wants to score goals as a young kid, but in time, his decision making will improve as the more games he plays. But lastly, God, the show's running away with us before we go into the next game and man of the matches and stuff like that. Luke Shaw comes off with a new injury today. I think we've all agreed, we've all spoken about on the forum many times how important Luke Shaw is and how good we think he is, so we won't go over old ground. But in terms of just purely getting injured, because people have said, Beth, you don't call it out. Well, I'm going to call it out now. In terms of purely getting injured, is Luke Shaw's injury record now a worry for Manchester United?
Always been a worry.
Huge worry, yeah.
And is it a worry in terms of the fact we might need to look at getting a left-back in the summer?
I'm surprised we haven't anyway. I feel like every position we've looked at centre-backs, we've looked at right-backs, even though we have 2 right-backs, we've looked at midfielders, we've looked at right wingers, left wingers, and I think left-back's the one position where I don't think we've even had a potential transfer target where everyone said, oh, look at this guy who could potentially come and fill in. Everyone's kind of focused all over the rest of the pitch because we kind of hope that Luke Shaw's going to come back and be the guy for us. When in reality, he's been there for, like we said, almost 10 years. How many times has he gone 2-3 seasons consistently without getting injured? Has he even done that? I don't think he's done that. He might have done that maybe at the start, but he's constantly been going through injuries in and out. And Malacia, I don't even remember how good Malacia even is to even say he can be our backup left back. So that's 100. I think it's actually wild to think that no one's really been considering a potential upgrade in left back. Well, not even an upgrade, but just a replacement for someone to just be there as in
challenge.
Because we're playing Lindelof, he's been struggling every single time he's played there, or we've got to play Dalot there, which means he's going to be out of position.
Ricky wanted me to mention that Lindelof was excellent at left back today.
Fair enough.
I think not having look, Luke Shaw's injury has always been there, right? Average games like 30 odd a year, so clearly it's there. The bigger issue is that because we didn't have another left back this year, it put more strain on the player. I speak about this a lot with other Manchester United fans, trying to make them understand the probability of injury. Physios and heads of departments will sit down with the manager and calculate the probability of a player getting injured based on their record, based on the minutes that they play for your club, based on international duty minutes as well. And they will think the likelihood of this player getting injured in this body part, blah, 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 all of these maths go on to kind of understand. It's called managing your load, right? Luke Shaw's not had a player to play in his position. Malacia has been injured, so we've gone and got loan players when he did get injured who weren't at the level that we needed them to be. We've had a young player there, Alvaro Fernandez, who's been loaned out, so we're already down on a player. Those players now got sent back, and now Luke has had to come back again. And let's be honest, I don't think there are Man United players who are playing 100% fit. It's natural. You're probably playing 75, 60%. Can I play? You've just seen it in Palace with Olise, right? What happened with that scenario? He came on and had to go back off. So this is very natural to happen in a football club where players will play even with niggles just because they've passed a fitness test. Have you ever felt comfortable Martial passing a fitness test, for example? Because deep in your mind, subconsciously, that he could still get injured in a warm-up. It's the same thing with Luke Shaw. The reason why it's affecting us more is because Malacia has not been available, who could take the workload off you. Same thing we say about Rasmus Højlund, getting a striker to take the workload off you, or just any other position. And yeah, I understand where you're saying that go and get a left back, but I think that issue has already been addressed because we had Malacia, and Malacia did play last season, and he had some goodish games, and Luke Shaw was competing with him, where when Luke came on he had good games as well. So if you manage it like that, then it works out okay, because the physio department will sit there and say, okay, we can give him this many minutes in cup runs, in European games. If the scoreline is this much, you can bring him on, and X, Y, and Z, and that way you bring down the probability of a player getting injured much low.
I think it just depends on is Malacia going to be, is this just like a really horrible long-term injury where he's going to come back and hopefully he can get back to what we were initially seeing with him, because there were positive signs, or is he, what is Malacia's future? I think that's the question that needs to be answered. But Ten Hag did say Luke Shaw, you know, he is injured and we don't know what it's going to be, but he's going to have to assess him. But this is interesting from Ten Hag. He said that we are dropping too deep and we lost focus, maybe because it was so easy in the first 10 minutes, but we can't afford this, especially against a side like Luton. So dropping too deep, that suggests he wants to continue, you know, that high press continuously. And obviously, the only risk in that is it can get bypassed.
I noticed Rasmus Højlund coming really deep to collect the ball. Yeah. I don't know why. Is it because he was excited to get involved with the game? He's not getting enough of the ball. Sometimes strikers do that. They're not getting enough touch on the ball, so you want to come in and have a feel of the ball. Don't know why you needed to do that. No. And before he went off, I'm seeing like Bruno in the middle, in front of him. I'm seeing Garnacho blasting down the wing, and there's no Rasmus Højlund in the middle. I'm thinking, what's going on? So I think maybe he refers to that you know, the team just naturally progressed a bit deeper. But that's in-game management, where maybe the players on the field felt like they're going to concede, so let's go and defend. Let's help our defenders and midfielders out. That's why we're dropping deep, because Rashford was dropping really deep as well today.
Someone's just asked me to play Ricky's voice note out, so I'll do that before I do man of the match.
It's always going to be difficult. It was a really tough game. They're a right handful, and let's be honest, they're a right handful for anybody, especially at home. So it was always going to be difficult. Interesting to hear Gary Neville. I don't hang on his every word, obviously, but interesting to hear and I looked at the clock on 71 minutes. He said how much better United have been in the last 20 minutes. Well, that only excludes 6 minutes of the second half. So he's basically saying we've been better in the second half after 71 minutes. And then also, probably with 10 minutes left, he said how much more he said they've not been brilliant, but they've been more composed. They've made better decisions and they've made better passes in the second half than they did in the first half. To me, I think we made 2 substitutions at half-time, Johnny Evans and Scott McTominay, and both of those players have got a hand in that without any shadow of a doubt. Bruno, by the way, absolutely shocking. Just poor decisions and poor passes.
He had to get that in.
Why did you want to pause it?
Didn't he? It's the second voice note.
So Bruno, for me, if you're marking him, I know that's not your job, but 4 or 5 out of 10. And also a shout out to Victor Lindelof again. Perfectly fine at left back. I've got no problem with him at all. Okay, he got a booking. Okay, he got beat a couple of times. But, you know, I know we've got probably the best left back in the country, or maybe even in the world, who doesn't get beat so often. But he's going to get beat occasionally. Lindelof, perfectly fine.
Back in the world, Ricky, man.
He knows his stuff on Luke Shaw. Nah, Luke Shaw's Luke Shaw's brilliant as long as he's too injured.
So is Neymar then? Neymar's the best player in the world.
But he's too injured.
Excuse me?
No, I'm saying Luke Shaw's a brilliant left back, but he's injured too often. So.
Man United fans said no to Neymar because of his injury records, huh?
I mean, it's a bit different. It's a bit different situation. But that was Ricky's voice notes. Right, guys. Next game, Fulham. At home, should be a win, surely?
3 o'clock that as well, isn't it?
Saturday.
Kick-off, is it?
Saturday.
It's rare that we get a 3 o'clock kick-off.
Man of the match for this game, quickly?
Kobe Mainoo, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, got to agree.
Yeah.
I think it's close between Højlund and Kobe Mainoo, but I think it has to be Kobe Mainoo.
I thought you were going to give it Onana.
What?
Why?
Just to be different.
No, I think we're full house on Kobe Mainoo then.
Yeah, Kobe Mainoo.
And then,
and Fulham is not an easy game.
No, it's not.
No, not an easy game.
But we're at home, and you would hope that we'll be able to
home
get
advantage
the line. But let's actually just have a quick look. Right, okay, we've got 2 minutes left. I just want to look at Man United's upcoming fixtures, and we can go through them a little bit. So, let me have a look. Right, so we've got Fulham on Saturday. I'm thinking we're going to win that game. I hope we are going to at home. We all agree we're going to win that.
Yeah, I'm confident, yeah.
We've got them Forest away in the Cup, FA Cup, must-win game. Everyone confident we're going to win that? No one's talking.
No. I always think we're going to win, but Forest away is not easy at all. Forest beat us. Away. I think it was away, right?
Yeah.
In the Beaten League, so you can't. We're definitely not going to go and walk over them. So, but I always think United are going to win. So.
And then you've got the derby, City, Etihad.
How many days apart is the Forest game and City game?
The Forest game's on the Wednesday, the City game's on the Sunday.
We're gonna lose.
Well, because of that.
That's not the reason we're losing that game.
I tell you why, because we can't even plan for one game a week, let alone 2 games in a week.
And I know we're going to play full team for both games. Yeah. So there's no.
And with the injuries and no Martinez, no Shaw, I don't know if Shaw's gonna. Well, let's take worst case scenario, right? Just to prepare yourself. Let's say Shaw doesn't come back for the Forest or City game. It is tough.
If Shaw isn't back for the City game, I feel sorry for.
Can I be honest? I'm more worried about the Forest game than City game, because City. I'll tell you why. City, I'm more expected to, lose. I'll take a draw. Right now, we'll all take a draw. But Forest, FA Cup, I really want to go Wembley. I just really do. I said this to you guys before. City, it's almost like, it's City. Let's give it a go. It's derby day. Whatever happens. We'll take a draw. No problem at all. If I offered you a draw 1 point, you'll all take it. But with Forest, FA Cup, come on, I really want to go to Wembley, semi-final and final.
I can understand what you're saying, but if we were to win both games, I'm a lot more happy about being City.
Did you go to Wembley last season?
No, I didn't go.
Oh, the feeling is unreal. You obviously.
But you would rather, surely you'd feel better.
You love them days out.
Of course, yes, but Forest game is first.
Yeah.
It's before City. I want to get that Forest game. I really want to go to Wembley.
Yeah,
City will drop points somehow. Whatever. We're not. Obviously, it's derby day. We're not competing with them for anything in terms of league or whatever.
But you still want to
take a draw.
You want to keep momentum in the Prem, though.
Yeah, for sure.
They're both huge because we want to get top 4, and we also really need to get as far as we can in the FA Cup. Would love to get a trophy.
I want Eric Ten Hag to win the FA Cup.
Of course you do. You're a United fan.
So he can get another season, and I can sit here at the end of the season and say, you know what, fair play to you, Eric. You took us to the FA Cup. Last season, you took us to the FA Cup as well. This season as well, whether we win or lose is another thing. But you took us to 2 finals, FA Cup finals. I'd be more than happy to give him that credit, and I want him to do it. I really do.
And you've got to think as well, Scott McTominay, 94th minute winner in the FA Cup
final.
You
don't understand, right? Oh, it's amazing.
Honestly, secures a 10-year deal with United. But, I mean, it's a long way to go. You've still got Liverpool and City in the FA Cup, and for me, both them teams are just...
I'm sorry, I know the show's about to end, but imagine, right? Manchester United versus Manchester City, round 2. FA Cup.
I don't want to be against City in the final because I want to win it.
Yeah, Man United.
I'd rather someone else knock them out.
The Avengers, Scott McTominay, Evans, Lindelof, Iceman, line up against the scumbags with no fans.
Faz, we don't beat City.
Yeah, but what if round 2, revenge, we go and punch them in the throat?
We need someone else to beat them for us.
Yeah, trust.
No, but nothing better than beating them
in the throat.
It's a nice fairy tale.
Yeah, there is something better, winning the cup and not losing it again for a second time running. But
just imagine.
They're going to win the treble.
But guys, final question. Imagine not being able to stop them from winning a second treble. That would be pure embarrassment. But last final question. Are United getting Champions League football?
Yes.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes, full house. Get in the chat what you're thinking.
Ricky, you can sit there and say no as much as you want.
Ricky said no last week, didn't he?
I think he thinks we are going to now, He's been a lot more positive recently.
Has he?
I think on the last forum, was that last week?
Yeah, he said last week no.
Did he?
We all said yes.
You forgot, he said last week no.
Oh, did he not?
Yeah.
I'll have to... He's watching the show, so he might
His grandson is scoring all these goals, Scott McTominay, and yet he's sitting there saying no.
He might be a bit behind. We'll ask him next time he's on. But look, everyone, thank you very much. It's a great forum. And he was...
Enjoyed it.
God, if we were drawing that game, imagine how depressed we would have all been.
Therapy forum.
We won it, so yeah, good stuff. Faz, thank you very much. Kev.
Thank you very much.
As always, and Mordz as well. Thank you for
that. That looks better than
that.
Bissaka, hold that.
Dalla was great again today.
Don't say anything.
But guys, right, everyone's just so happy we've got the win. Can't contain themselves. But look, everyone, thank you so much. Thank you for all the super chats. Is there any that I've missed actually before I finish the show? Let's have a look. United all the way says, glad we didn't get that buy-in flop Harry Kane. That is shameless. That is shameless. That's the last one. And Chris was saying team showed character today. But look, guys, thank you very much. Have a lovely rest of your Sunday. And we will be back throughout the week. Big game again. Every game's a cup final, Eric Ten Hag says. And we'll see you on the next one.